A midlife crisis is more than just a cultural stereotype. It's a real psychological struggle that can surface between the ages of 40 and 60. Often triggered by aging, loss, or unmet expectations, it can actually lead individuals to question their identity, make impulsive choices, or abruptly abandon long term commitments. While not officially classified yet as a mental illness, the emotional and relational fallout is very real, especially for the spouses and families left behind. This podcast gives voice to those living through the aftermath, exposing the hidden pain, and seeking accountability, healing, and understanding. Thank you for joining us today on MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. The stories and events discussed in this podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or professional advice. Any names, locations, or identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or real events are purely coincidental. The information presented on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified expert regarding any decisions related to your specific situation. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the podcast creators. Hello, Bomb Squad. Thanks for joining me today. This is your host, Trina Laird. And today we are going to do something a little different. We are going to go straight into the words of an affair partner. These are real texts sent to wives in our community. So these aren't just random words. They are a masterclass in lies, manipulation, and gaslighting. And when you see them exposed, you learn to spot the tactics, call them out, and most importantly, stop doubting yourself. We're going to break down the text. We're going to break down the psychology behind them and what a wife can do if she finds herself being triangulated by an affair partner. I'll also share resources at the end from two incredible women, Kenda Ruth Stumpf and Lori McDermott, who have dedicated their lives to helping spouses of men in midlife crisis. All right. So first, some context on some of these affair partners. All right. So one of the affair partners was not a happy, grounded person who just stumbled into a relationship. This is a person who had deep trauma, several suicide attempts. One attempt left her in a 30-day coma. Her husband of 24 years left her for her best friend. And then later she had a boyfriend of 2 years that refused to marry her unless she sought help for her mental health. So we've got some of her texts here along with some others. And that person, instead of getting help, she told her friends that she had no resources, no money, nothing, nowhere to live. And when those friends started giving her advice on meeting men, she actually targeted one of their husbands who was depressed and in midlife crisis. And that all fell apart. He became limerent for her, got a speedy divorce, and now they are engaged. She even told one wife she feared her own boyfriend might kill her if he knew that she was talking to another man. And that wife, feeling sorry for her, didn't warn the husband until it was too late. But by then, this AP had spun a web of denial, manipulation, and ultimately destruction. And here's the little twist, you guys. Even though she won that midlife crisis husband, we're going to call it winning because she says that, refers to it that way in a text message to the wife. Even though she won the midlife crisis husband and is now engaged to him, she still contacts her ex-boyfriend. She admits she's unhappy, but she can't leave because she has nowhere to go. Now she's stuck. She's engaged to a guy who left his family, and she's stuck with him, even though she's not happy. And apparently he's depressed, even more so. So here we have, it's not a love story. This is all dependency and dysfunction. So, okay, here we've got one text. Let's see, this is from an AP. She said to the wife, "Your husband is not my boyfriend. My advice to him is to keep his family together." So when you analyze that, it's false altruism. She's positioning herself as a friend, giving good advice. But if she really cared about the family, she wouldn't be texting him at all. This is how APs disarm suspicion. They pretend to be the helper, not the intruder. And what could the wife have said? She could have said, you know what? My marriage is not your business. Leave my husband alone. And then disengage. All right. Another little text from an affair partner to a wife. Hey, you called me a bitch. That's a threat and you should go to jail. Oh, well, uh, she probably was a bitch. But anyway, okay, here's the analysis. This affair partner is playing the victim act. She escalates name calling into a supposed criminal offense. This is gaslighting and intimidation, flipping the roles so she's the victim, not the intruder. A wife's response tip could have been, well, first of all, it's natural to lash out under stress, but after that moment, you know what? Disengage. Don't fuel her little victim narrative. If she escalates further, document it and hold on to it for if you need to file a restraining order. Okay, text. Okay, here's some more texts. We've got one, I don't want to be with your husband. Another text, I never told your husband I want to be with him. Another text, I would never even think about having sex with your husband. And then another, of course, you have a wonderful husband and he loves you a lot. Analysis of those 4 separate texts. This is gaslighting through over denial. Innocent people don't need to repeat denials 5 times. She's trying to make the wife doubt reality. And notice the last line. It's a fake compliment designed to soothe while undermining. The wife's best tip there, do not interrogate. Don't chase truth from a liar. Trust your gut, not her words. Again, that was gaslighting through over denial. Innocent people don't need to repeat denials 5 times. Think about that, you guys. She was seriously trying to make that wife doubt reality. All right, more texts we have. These are attack and power plays, such as, you've been acting like a crazy woman. Another text, you lost this game. You lost your husband, your dignity. You lost everything. And another one, very creepy, I know more about you than you can imagine. Whoa. The analysis here, you guys, this is where the mask slips. Back. The affair partner goes on the attack. First, projection. She's calling the wife crazy while her own behavior is the one that's unstable. Then, humiliation, declaring herself the winner in a game. And finally, intimidation, hinting at secret knowledge so she can keep the wife on edge. Again, projection by calling the wife crazy. Humiliation by declaring herself the winner in a game. And finally, intimidation, hinting at secret knowledge to keep the wife on edge. Recognize this as abuse, you guys. This is not truth, it is abuse. The real power move here is say it once, strong, then block. That's what the wife could do. Say it once, strong, then block, such as, leave my husband alone and stop bothering me. So we can see so far we have affair partners that are escalating things, playing the victim, gaslighting, over denying stuff. And then this is all abuse. So, you guys, people will tell you never respond to the AP. But when someone invades your marriage, silence can feel like surrender. It can feel like acceptance. And I want you to hear this. You have every right to stand strong. This is a marital covenant. And this is somebody who, in many states, is breaking the law and can be sued, but it's seriously morally wrong for them to be the affair partner. And you have every right to protect yourself and your family and try to help your husband avoid going down a rabbit hole of destruction. But anyway, here, if she's calling you out, if calling her out once makes you feel powerful, do it. Say it once, say it strong, then block. That's not weakness, that is strength. And you know what I always say? Rise up, you guys. I know you can do it. Here's some examples of strong responses. 1, stay in your lane. My marriage is not your playground. Another one. Hey, you're preying on a vulnerable man. Leave my family alone. Anyway, here's another phrase you can say. I see exactly what you're doing, and I'm not playing your game. That's all you need. A knockout punch. One and done. Because endless back and forth only feeds her game. This is a person who honestly has nothing else to do. So the power is in having the last word, not the longest fight. Because you know what, guys? It will never end. They love triangulation. And if you're living through this right now, I want you to know you are not alone and you don't have to navigate it by yourself. Um, Here's some red flags to be aware of. Red flags in the AP text: gaslighting, blame shifting, playing the victim, power plays, and intimidation. What you don't want to do not do any name calling, no calling them bitch or the C word or any other words. It gives them ammunition. Don't argue point by point, and don't keep asking for the truth because you will not get it. They are extreme liars. What you can do when you recognize gaslighting, blame shifting, when your intuition's telling you something's going on, just do not contact me or my husband again. Block and disengage and start documenting everything. Take screenshots if you have to. Redirect your energy to your kids, your health, and your stability. Because you know what? Chances are this is going to become full-blown MLC. It is his little train, and it's going to leave the station, and you're not going to get on it. You do not want to be on the MLC train. You do not want to be a character in this circus called MLC. Get off and just go back to your sane and rational life. Let's see. Yeah, do not chase the AP. Address your spouse directly. Avoid the competition mindset. It just feeds her little game. And step out of the triangle because refusing to play is your power. Come on, girls, you're better than that. Do not play in the same sandbox as those APs. Ugh. These texts show us how an affair partner can operate. Deny, deflect, play the victim, then turn around and attack with cruelty and arrogance. What's even more tragic is that in one of these cases, the husband is now engaged to this woman and reportedly battling depression really bad. And another thing, one of the affair partners is unhappy with the MLC person that she's engaged to and is consistently in touch with her previous boyfriend. So, I mean, these folks, it is a circus. And that's really sad to think it's a circus because these are real lives at stake. We've got the left behind spouses, the children, all kinds of friends and family members. One of the boyfriends I spoke with of an affair partner who she left him, he calls it fabricating unreality. And I just love that term, fabricating unreality, because that is what's happening with the affair partners and the MLCers, and they're circling around in their fabricated unreality world. But the rest of us who are living the real life in the real world, where there's real life and real consequences, we're left to pick up all the pieces. The kids are left to pick up all the pieces while these two people carry on in their circus world. Anyway, it is totally crazy. And then what about the husband that's in midlife crisis? Doesn't he feel second place if his affair partner is still calling their ex? Well, no, because not while he's in a fog. Because in MLC, reality is suspended. He clings to the fantasy that he's the chosen one, the rescuer, and he'd rather ignore red flags than risk losing his escape, his little placeholder. But here's the truth. When the fog thins and when depression takes hold, that's often when the realization hits that he wasn't the first choice. He was just the next stop in her chaos. And that is devastating. And here we have a question from a listener. When the MLCer breaks up with the AP, but they're still in the tunnel, how do they go from AP to AP? Like, how do they go from one affair to another, and they never find real joy? Is it just an endless search for happiness? Do they compare affair partners with their wife and the family they abandoned? And why do they pick up and become dads to affair partners' kids while avoiding their own? Oh, wow. Well, these are excellent questions, and they strike right at the tragic cycle of midlife crisis affairs. What you're describing is exactly what so many betrayed spouses see. The MLCer does not settle. Instead, they do bounce from affair partner to affair partner, always chasing, never finding real peace. So, the tunnel isn't about the affair partner. The affair partner is just a symptom. It's a distraction from their inner pain. When one affair partner fails to fix them, they don't do self work, they just go looking for the next high. It becomes an endless search for dopamine. Each affair partner gives them a hit of validation, fantasy, and novelty, but it fades quickly. So they move on, hoping the next one will finally make the emptiness disappear. Um, it just becomes a revolving door of affair partners with no lasting joy. And in the tunnel, they do idolize the affair partner and they devalue the wife. They'll convince themselves things like, my wife never made me feel this alive. But as time passes, reality cracks. They start noticing, wow, my wife managed the home, she raised our kids, kept stability. This affair partner doesn't do any of that. And they start to realize and see the differences. There's shame and comparison. Eventually, comparisons creep in, and sometimes that's when depression even deepens more so. They realize that they left something solid for total chaos. And that question about why do they play dad to other people's kids and avoid their own? Well, this is really one of the most painful double standards, and it has psychological roots. The fantasy role with the affair partner's kids, the MLCer gets to play the fun dad with no history. He just steps into their lives as a rescuer, not as the flawed father that his own kids now see him as. Facing his own children forces him to face the damage that he's caused. It's just totally easier for him to avoid them completely rather than see their hurt. Remember, in in MLC, many of these dads, husbands, many of them are have a avoidance personality already, um, avoidant relationship style. So they don't even. There's no way they want to sit and talk about what's bothering the kids. And then affair partner's kids often welcome him initially. Um, his own kids are out there rejecting him, telling him what mistakes he's made, and upset with their dad. So he just goes where he feels admired, not where he feels shame. So that's that's brilliant. Goes where he's admired, not where he feels shame, and he can be with the fair partner's kids. It's a total rewriting of self-image. He tells himself, "See, I'm not a bad dad. Look how good I am with these kids." It's total self-delusion. It's a way to numb the guilt of abandoning his own children. It's crazy. I know. Is it an endless search for happiness? Well, if the MOCer never does inner work, yeah, it can be endless. They keep searching externally for what only healing can truly give. Some eventually hit a wall, depression, financial ruin, another failed affair partner relationship, and they realize, "Ugh," maybe they'll realize the problem isn't them, it's me. That's when the real change can start. When they realize the problem isn't going to be solved by going from one person to the next. It's got to start with them. Sadly, others stay stuck, repeating the cycle into old age. They never find happiness. They never find real joy. They just keep chasing. So, what happens when a midlife crisis husband breaks up with one AP and is still deep in the tunnel? He doesn't suddenly come home. He goes looking for another fix. Affair partner after affair partner. It's an endless search for happiness that never lasts. They don't bond deeply, they compare. They rewrite history. They even step in as dad to the affair partner's kids while avoiding their own because those kids don't carry the weight of shame, disappointment, and truth. It's easier to be fun dad in someone else's house than face the heartbreak that you caused in your own. But here's the truth, you guys. No affair partner, no new family, no borrowed kids can fix a broken soul. Until they face themselves, this cycle is going to keep repeating and repeating. And what looks like freedom is just a tunnel with no light at the end. I a question every betrayed spouse asks, and that is, could she or he have done something to save his or her marriage? Well, pretty much the answer is no. Once a husband or wife is in midlife crisis and engaging with an affair partner, the wife or husband really can't stop it. And that's because the affair isn't about him or her, it's about the crisis, his or her fear of aging, shame, unresolved trauma. What the wife and husband can do is protect themselves and the kids, set boundaries, and refuse to degrade themselves by chasing the AP's lies. That's strength and that's dignity. The husband or wife has to hit their own wall with the affair partner, whether that wall is depression, disappointment, or collapse of the fantasy. Sometimes they return, sometimes they don't. But either way, it's your strength, your boundaries, and refusal to degrade yourself and protect your dignity. That's what you got to focus on. Remember, you didn't cause this crisis. You can't cure it. You can't control it. It's their path to walk. So stay off the crazy train. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today on Bomb Drop. This is your host, Trina Laird. And today I am going to use an adjective that I'm sure some people might use it on me, but I'm going to use it on myself today. And that is Trina Laird, the bitter ex-wife. Because here's my take. Damn right I'm bitter, and I should be, and so should you if you've been discarded. You're entitled to be the bitter ex-wife or the bitter ex-husband, because you know what? Bitterness is the natural fallout of betrayal. You don't get to torch someone's life, lie, cheat, discard them, expose them to potential STDs, and then demand they serve you forgiveness on a silver platter while you waltz off into the sunset with your affair partner? No, that is like insane. Bitterness means you felt it. It means you invested. It means you're not going to pretend that poison tastes like honey. People who call ex-wives bitter are really saying, oh, well, she didn't swallow betrayal quietly. Well, yeah, no, I hope not. I hope none of you wives out here are swallowing betrayal quietly. Because if you are, call me. We'll talk. She didn't keep her mouth shut so everyone else could stay comfortable. No, do not keep your mouth shut. Do not be quiet. You control your narrative. Again, when people call ex-wives bitter, they're really saying, well, she's not going to put out a pretty filter over ugly behavior. Yeah, no, we're not. We're not going to do that. Here's the truth, you guys. Bitterness is not weakness. It's a stage of healing. It's the fire in between devastation and freedom. You have got to go through it. And I want all you wives out there to embrace that bitterness, go through that devastation, because it will lead you to freedom. And if you've been through betrayal, you get to own every ounce of it. Don't make excuses for it. So the next time someone tries to slap you with a label bitter, remember this. Bitter women rise, you guys. We totally rise. Bitter women rebuild. Bitter women are no longer silent. And the same goes for men. Hurt men are going to rise, rebuild, and not stay silent. If being bitter means refusing to normalize betrayal, then wear it like armor, because bitterness doesn't break you, it frees you. Bitter women don't stay stuck. Bitter women rise, rebuild, and no longer are silent. And the same goes for guys. This whole bitter ex-wife label, people throw that around like it's an insult. But here's the truth. The so-called bitter ex-wife is usually the one who held a family together, loved deeply, and sacrificed years of her life to build a partnership. She's not bitter. She's seasoned by betrayal. She's stronger than the lies. She's sharper than the gaslighting. And she's still standing after a storm meant to break her. Now let's talk about that little affair partner. She'll paint herself as the shiny new prize and peel back the layers. And what do you see? You're going to see emotional weakness. A woman so desperate for validation that she latches onto a married man. A woman who lies to herself every day just to survive in a counterfeit relationship. She's not strong. She's not special. She's living on borrowed time and borrowed truth. Because anyone who builds their house on someone else's broken vows lives in the shadows, never the light. So let's reframe this. The bitter ex-wife is not bitter. She's a survivor with fire in her veins. The affair partner is not powerful. She's the weak link, the liar, the little parasite feeding on a man who's too lost to see straight. Strength doesn't come from stealing. It comes from enduring. And that, Bomb Squad, is why the ex-wife is the one who's going to rise while the AP will always crawl. Well, you guys, the bitter ex-wife really is the survivor. She loved deeply and built a real life, sacrificed, invested, and carried the weight of partnership and family. She faced betrayal head on without hiding behind lies. She has scars, but those scars prove survival. She walks in truth, even when it hurts. She rebuilds herself from ashes with dignity and grit. That survivor wife, she is strong enough to stand alone. And that little affair partner, the weakest link, settles for second place, thrives only in secrecy and shadows, lies to herself daily to justify stolen scraps of quote unquote love. She confuses validation with value. She plays the shiny new card, but deep down, she knows she's plan B, and just for a temporary time. She needs deception to feel chosen. She's too fragile to build a life on her own terms. Man, so let's stop pretending the affair partner is powerful, because she's not. She's a counterfeit, a woman who only exists in the cracks of someone else's broken vows. Meanwhile, the so-called bitter ex-wife, she's the one with strength. She's the one with truth, and she's the one who rises every single time. And if you're in this right now, you don't have to go through it alone. 2 resources I recommend are, Kenda Ruth Stump's The Hero's Spouse. She has guided countless women through the midlife crisis nightmare, and you can check out her website and take the 2-minute quiz at midlifecrisismarriageadvocate.com. And we've got Lori McDermott, the wife expert who coaches betrayed wives with sharp, no-nonsense strategies. She even has an app now that you can have on your phone. Check her out at thewifeexpert.com. Both of them specialize in helping you stand strong, reclaim your dignity, and stop doubting yourself. So, these texts have shown us today something critical. Affair partners do not speak truth. They speak lies wrapped up with bacon in manipulation. But you are not powerless. You are not crazy. And you're not required to take this lying down. Speak once, stand strong, trust your intuition, block the noise, block the crazy circus, protect your dignity. That is how you win when someone else is trying to drag you into their crazy little chaos. So stay strong, Bomb Squad. Until next time, and share this with any of your friends if you feel it's going to be helpful for them. And stay strong, rise up, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining us today. You guys, forward moving spouses, you are not alone. Left behind spouses, you are not alone. Those in crisis, you are certainly not alone. This is just crazy how epidemic this has become. I have a waiting list now of people from around the world that I'm trying to get to. And if you've been through a midlife crisis or been impacted by someone else's and you want to share your story, I'd love to hear from you. Hang in there, you guys. I will get to all of you. Please reach out to me at mlcbombdrop@gmail.com and visit us on Facebook and Instagram, mlcbombdrop. And just remember, your voice matters. Your story could be the one that helps someone else feel seen. It could help someone else feel heard. And it will help somebody else feel understood. You are not alone, no matter where you are in your journey. If the bomb was just dropped, the earthquake just happened, if you are 7 or 8 years in and you're coming out of, starting to wake up and awaken to this, um, you are not alone. It's sad that this is epidemic, but we're here to provide support. So until next time, take care and live authentically each and every day. Thanks again, you guys.